Pat is currently in Vida Grange in Pannell in Harrogate. Her paintings were done about 2 or 3 years ago. She did about 70 pictures and they're all watercolours.
Tom is obviously very proud of Pat's work, and Pat is obviously very talented. And we were just talking about how great the artwork is, and Tom said, well, you know, my house is full of pieces of artwork. I don't quite know what to do with them. I think I'd like to sell them to raise money for a dementia charity. So I suggested that we organised an event here. We can have a nice social afternoon, have a bit of fizz, some strawberries, and do an art sale here. I think it's given Tom some purpose in, you know, being able to show off Pat's talent and her skills, and it's going to raise money for a good cause as well.
Pat really enjoyed looking at the pictures. Whether she remembered that she painted all the pictures or not, I had no idea.
For Pat, probably the painting is her way of communicating a lot of what she's done in her life, and a lot of the paintings with boats in might represent that time that she spent travelling around the world for 2 years. And when you look at them, I think from our point of view, we're not just seeing a picture, are we? We're seeing that little bit of Pat's memory, that actually this is what I've done with my husband, that we sailed around, we did 35,000 miles and we sailed around in our boats. And to me, that's what the picture captures. It's not just a painting, it's that part of Pat, and she might not be able to tell us that, but certainly in the time that she's painted, she's been able to express that, and for us it's about understanding that.
Tom, her husband, is an amazing man to know. He has great love for his wife. He's extremely proud of what she's achieved, sadly achieved, you know, following her diagnosis of dementia. He recognises that his wife can no longer participate in the joy of creative art, and he wants to make sure that, you know, that everyone can see what it is she's done.
When I found out that she got dementia, officially, I took her to a dementia class organised by Dementia Forward in York. And in that class there was an artist who gave everyone in it, maybe 12 people with dementia, give them all a piece of paper and some paints. And afterwards the artist came to me and said, your wife's got real talent for watercolour. So I went to the local art club and asked them if there was an art teacher that could come and help Pat. And Alan Smith turned up. He turned up every week for almost 2 years, and he worked with her to improve her skills. He was very patient, and I think he was also very proud of what he'd achieved with Pat.
When someone has dementia, they kind of move from that logical place in our minds to a very responsive, emotional, reactive place. So you almost stop thinking and start feeling. It's almost like someone changes the language that they speak, and rather than try and make that person continue to speak that original language, we need to learn about the language you're speaking now. Maybe the artist no longer paints, but the artist is still the artist. The artist may now enjoy art in a different way, art by looking, by appreciating, but there's also a beautiful legacy there.
I think one of the most important things to remember is just because you're living with dementia, it doesn't mean that you can no longer function in any way. There's always opportunity to grow. You may not be able to learn and retain new information, but that doesn't mean you can't still enjoy the opportunity of taking part in things. So it's about celebrating life. It's about celebrating opportunities to see that you can still achieve things in your life, no matter where you might be in that journey with dementia.
It's nice to see so many of her old friends, their old friends, supporting today, no matter how far they've had to come, and because they've moved out here, it's still lovely. They've all the familiar faces have turned up again.
I think it's wonderful that we've brought her paintings out and put them into the public domain, really.
obviously got a creative streak in her. It's unfortunate that it wasn't nurtured years and years ago, because I think she probably would have been a really well-known, famous artist by now.
I'm surprised that she's turned to art, and sad to say, I think possibly that if she hadn't have had the dementia, she probably wouldn't have found this skill within her.
There were so many of the pictures that I loved. I mean, I spent days and days every time we went down there helping her with them. After the painter had been and started them, I used to go down and help her finish them off, and she'd ask me, should I do this colour, should I do that, should I paint this in? Yes. And then I'd stick them up on the wall with blue tack them all around the dining room.
I find it, regarding being an artist, it's marvellous. Not surprised she had it, bit surprised that she didn't know she had it. Maybe she was always too busy doing other things, and it was when she wasn't as physically active she started painting.
We went to a lot of dinner parties at Pat's house, and I went to quite a few functions with her as well. And Pat was always somebody that could tell a really good story. She was a fantastic host, and her sense of colour in the home was quite unique, and the way that she dressed. She had a sense of style that you could really only describe as just Pat.
You could never accuse Pat of being a shy, retiring type.
You couldn't pinpoint a style and say Pat had a particular style, because it was Pat's style, it wasn't anybody else's style. And I think that the creative talent that she had was really quite something, and she still has.
We've been married about 50 years now, so and it's very difficult when you've been married 50 years to be separated. I think I've got a lot of Pat on my walls in my apartment in Harrogate, and every time I see the pictures that Pat's done, it reminds me of Pat and all the hours she spent actually doing them. It's a bit better than having photographs. It's something that Pat's actually created.
Families are always looking for a way of reconnecting and sharing. It can be a great place that you can exist together again. Let's meet that person at a new place rather than trying to go back to the old place. That's very hard for people, but that's I think what art can be, that destination.
Sir, that's very, very, very generous offer. £200. Do I see any more than 200? 200 going once. 200 going twice. Sold!
Most of the paintings have been sold now. An auction of one of Alan Smith's paintings raised £200, which was brilliant, and so I guess hopefully we might be near £1,000 for dementia charities.
All my staff that's come to join in and celebrate this occasion have come in their own time, because they are in their own right amazed by what this lady has achieved, what Pat has achieved, and they want to celebrate this with her.
Today it was absolutely remarkable that all those people came to view her paintings, and I feel very proud.
Pat's been here for over a year. She is a beautiful lady. There's great love for this family. You know, we want to be part of this. It's how we grow as professionals, to be able to sit and be honoured to be able to be invited to this. So for us, this is not hard work. This is joy. This is what makes us get up out of our beds every day and come in and do this. Some say job, I say vocation, I say something that brings, you know, purpose to my life as much as the staff downstairs.
Pat's really enjoyed this afternoon. She's walked round as though there was nothing wrong with her. All her friends started coming in, and lots of other people she didn't know, but that didn't seem to worry Pat. And she was talking to all the other people and the friends, and picking up glasses of champagne which weren't hers and drinking them, but she shouldn't have been doing that really, but never mind.
We don't just support the resident who lives here, we support the family as well, and Tom is very much a part of Vida, as is Pat. So Pat lives here permanently and Tom is here a lot of the time, but he is just as important to us as Pat is, and it's how they sort of carry on their journey together, with Tom visiting and Pat being here. So if it's good for Pat, it's good for Tom. If it's good for Tom, it's good for Pat. And I think the two of them are so close that they would, I would hope, be able to sense each other's happiness, wouldn't they? And you know, Tom's very, very proud of Pat, and he clearly loves her very much, you can see, and he's so passionate. Sometimes the staff are moved to tears with Tom. He comes, he visits her, clearly absolutely adores her, and she him. And that connection, you don't really need words for that, do you? You don't need to be able to speak. And I think for Tom, it's a really important day to be able to say how proud he is of her.